Hi, Circuit Riders. Welcome back. So we've been in California for a while now, and in last week's episode, we just arrived outside of Sacramento. We have been looking forward to this leg of our trip because we have some dear friends who live in Sacramento. John and Laura have been friends of ours for almost 30 years, since Jason and John worked together at a church in upstate New York when we were first married. But they moved to California only a few years after we met them, so we don't get to see them very often, and we were so excited to reconnect with them. And we were able to spend so much time with them during our visit here. You know, that's the great thing about RVing, is that you can be parked for a while and visit with family and friends that you don't often get to see. It's great to be able to spend quality time and quantity time with people around the country. So John is now on the pastoral staff at Bayside Covenant Church in Rosedale, California, and he's there as a program director. So while we were there visiting, he happened to it happened to coincide with a concert that was going on at the church with the band For King and Country. If you know anything about contemporary Christian music, you know that For King and Country is a huge band. We are fans of them. We've met them before when we were at Bayside Church on another visit a few years ago, and they happened to be there as well.
It's a fine, fine night. It's a fine, fine night. Every day I find.
So John knows them, and he's able to connect us. That was really special to be able to be there for their concert. They were doing a sneak preview or a launch party for their new movie that's coming out called Unsung Hero. We went to go see it in the theater. It's excellent. It's the story of their family and how they came from Australia to the United States and started their music career. Highly recommended if you're interested in that kind of thing. Anyway, we had a fun time at the concert. We had a great week with John and Laura, and they took us to Napa Valley. They took us out on their boat in San Francisco Bay. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that. And then, we also were able to celebrate Easter at Bayside Church, which was very nice to be able to go to a big church with friends on Easter Sunday. That was really special for us. So after that, then we headed out to Eastern California. We visited Lake Tahoe. We dipped over into Reno, Nevada. So there's a lot going on in this video. I hope you enjoy it.
No, it sounded good.
It does. Nuances, Lawrence.
So on the day that we went to Napa Valley with John and Laura, they have some friends who are members at a big winery there, Heston Vineyards. And so we went to their tasting room in Napa, and we were able to tell them, that we knew some of the members there. John and Laura have been to the Heston Mansion previously with their friends. And because of that connection, we were able to get a private guided wine tasting. It was excellent. This guy was amazing. And we tasted 10 different wines. And he told us the history of everything. It was like a private tasting. That was really special and very cool. And then after the tasting, we went right next door to the fabulous Bouchon restaurant for lunch.
That's a trend there. Oh, thank you.
And they had a little bakery there too. So we got some nice dessert afterwards. Hello from San Francisco Bay. We have been having such an excellent week visiting our friends here in the San Francisco area, and they are part of a boat share membership out here on the bay, so they're taking us out on a boat this afternoon. We're taking out a 26-foot powerboat today. It's got a cute little cabin down below here with a little kitchenette and some couches. Jason and I are really interested in sailing, but have hardly ever been out on a boat before, either sailboat or motorboat. We very rarely go out on them, so we're real excited to try this out with our friends. So I've come down below to see how it is to be down here in the berth, and it's much warmer. It's very cold and windy up there. I'm just not used to boats. Jason and I were just saying that when we go back to Florida, we'd like to maybe do some boating or sailing lessons down there on the Atlantic coast and the intercoastal waterway. We're kind of starting to get really interested in that stuff, so maybe someday you'll see us doing a little more boating. It's a beautiful day up in Lake Tahoe, California. We are doing a massive road trip today, 6-hour loop through Lake Tahoe, Reno, Nevada, Donner Pass, and back to our campground. We are so excited to be able to visit Lake Tahoe on this trip. We weren't sure if we would make it all the way over here because I did not realize that Tahoe is right on the border of California and Nevada. So I'm going to put a map up here so you can see. I find these maps really helpful, and I hope you do too. A lot of times when people talk about famous locations in the United States, they say things like everybody should know where they are and what the significance of them are, and I often don't know where these things are, so I did not know that Tahoe was right on the border of California and Nevada, and the border goes right through the lake. And I also didn't know it was so high up in the mountains. We're over 7,000 feet of elevation here, and you can see all the snow. We were going to come up here a few days ago over the weekend, and there was a big snowstorm coming through. All the warnings said winter storm warning, don't drive through up here. So we delayed our trip until today, and now it's a beautiful sunny day. So I'm glad that we did. But I can see all these huge snowbanks as we're driving, and it makes the mountains so beautiful too. And this fog over the lake is just really magical. So we're excited to explore this area today. I have no idea what's up here except that there's a pretty lake, and we're gonna just show you what we can find, and then we'll head down to Reno. It's about 46 degrees out right now. The sun is warm, but the air is so crisp and cool. It just smells wonderful here with all the big pine trees. This is Emerald Bay behind us, just a little inlet to the bigger Lake Tahoe back there. But the water is so blue here, and this little island is just very intriguing. There's some kind of little structure on the top of it. We don't know what it is, but there's lots of people here today. It's a little tea house that was built by the people who built the big castle down there on the lakeside. Be careful. The kids are having fun playing in the snow. So this is the town of South Lake Tahoe. Good sized town here with lots of amenities and beautiful beaches along the southern end of the lake here. Look how clear the water is. You know, I don't know if I mentioned that today is our 31st wedding anniversary, and so we're having this special day out partly as an excuse for our anniversary.
Yeah.
But what is the 31st anniversary gift, Jason?
Safeway donuts.
Oh, we won then. We got the exact right gift.
That's why we came to Tahoe.
You can see Harrah's Casino here, and that must mean we are about to cross into Nevada. So this street here in the middle of South Lake Tahoe is the border between Nevada and California. All right, we're in Nevada. We're heading towards Carson City, and then we'll make our way up to Reno. We didn't realize that Carson City is the capital of Nevada, so we're here in the State House. Carson City was a stop on the way westward for people who were heading to California for the gold rush in 1849. So people would come through this area across Lake Tahoe and then, down to the gold areas. Well, in 1859, 10 years later, a large silver vein was struck just north of here in Virginia City, and that was the first place that silver was ever found in the United States. So once that silver boom happened, this city of Carson City grew up really big and became the capital of Nevada. It's very windy in Carson City today. So I'm excited to see these markers along the Kit Carson Trail, which seems to be a kind of walking trail here through downtown. There's a Pony Express, which the Pony Express came through Carson City on its way to Sacramento. We saw Pony Express markers in Utah when we were there a couple years ago. And also the Lincoln Highway goes through here, which is Route 30. It was the first marked coast-to-coast highway, and it goes all the way from Times Square in New York City, and it comes all the way to the West Coast. And my parents and my brother actually live very close to it in Pennsylvania, so I love those coast-to-coast old roads, especially ones that are still functional. You know, we love Route 66, but it's been decommissioned now, and you can't really drive the whole thing. But Route 30, which is right here, you can drive coast-to-coast. That's so fun. about 20 minutes north of Carson City, up in the mountains, is Virginia City. This is where the Comstock lode was originally found, the silver mine. So we're just driving through town here on our way to Reno. There are some gold mine and silver mine tours here. We're a little bit late in the day for those, but a lot of historical buildings here, a lot of authentic looking buildings. Now, at the peak of the silver rush in the 1870s, there was about a population of 25,000 in Virginia City. Now, I believe it's down to about mid 700s. Wow, this downtown of Virginia City looks so historic and authentic. It's actually a National Historic Landmark. So sometimes that means that you can't do any improvements, in the town when it's designated that way. But this plaque here says that the town was destroyed by fire in 1875, but was quickly rebuilt and became a metropolis of 25,000 people. That's fascinating. And this monument here, it says all of these rocks are different pieces of ore from each of the counties in Nevada, and they put it together in this monument here. Look at this boardwalk, sidewalk. In addition to Virginia City being the site of the Comstock lode, another famous person lived here. Mark Twain was a reporter for the Territorial Enterprise newspaper, which was founded here in 1859. Virginia City is my favorite thing so far today. I love the old, original, authentic things. You can't get more authentic than this.
You were saying because it's some kind of national historic site,
landmark.
They're much more particular about preserving the original character of some of the buildings.
Yeah, I would say so. And you can see which buildings survived the fire because their dates are before 1875. But this block, this whole shopping block right here that we just walked, all says 1875 on it. We have seen lots of signs for wild horses around this area, and I think that they're Mustangs, wild Mustangs. And we did see some off in the distance, and here's two that were really up close. I can't tell for sure if they're ranch horses. Like, they seem too tame and close to the road to be wild, but...
There's no fencing, though.
No, there's no fences. They must be. So we're coming down out of the hills into Reno now. You can see the beautiful Sierra Nevada mountains off in the distance that are still snow-covered. Such a beautiful area. Well, since we're in Reno, we wanted to make sure that we stopped by to see a casino. So we're at the Atlantis Casino. And if we're going to be at a casino, that means we're eating a casino buffet for dinner. So we're heading back to California from Reno, back to our campground. But on the way, we have pulled over.
We ran out of food, and it's snowing.
There's a lot of snow.
There's a lot of snow here.
We have pulled over to Donner Pass at the Donner Memorial State Park. I'm sure that you have heard of the Donner Party. You might not know all the details, but in the winter of 1846, 1847, a large group of families were on a wagon train from Missouri to California, and they were behind the majority of the wagons that had left for the season that year. So they were already getting a late start. And then their downfall was that they had heard about this alternate route besides the Oregon Trail. Most everybody that was in wagons took the Oregon Trail straight to California. But someone had promoted that they had made a new shorter route through Utah and across the Great Salt Lake Desert, which actually turned out to be much longer than the Oregon Trail. But anyway, this party of 60 to 80 wagons, there was 87 people in this party all told, decided to take this shorter route that was new and just had a horrible time, got delayed, got stuck, had trouble with Native Americans, and lost their cattle and their food. And by the time they were crossing the Sierra Nevada mountains in December, they were caught in some snowstorms and could not get out. They were stuck in the mountains in the snow for all winter until February. And the most famous thing about the Donners, that if you've only heard one thing about them, is that some of them turned to cannibalism to survive that experience. Now, mostly not everybody was a cannibal, and mostly the people that they ate were already dead. But there was 2 guides that were with them, Native American guides, and they purposely killed those guides so that they could eat them. We're just halfway through reading the story online when we got here, so I don't know the end of the story yet, but I know that 48 people survived and made it to California, about half of them. So just a fascinating thing. Of course, I love all kinds of history. This is a particularly gruesome chapter in American history, but we're driving by, so let's see it. Near this spot stood the Breen cabin of the party of immigrants who started for California from Springfield, Illinois. Oh, I said Missouri, but it was Illinois. In April of 1846, under the leadership of Captain George Donner. Delays occurred, and when the party reached this locality on October 29th, the Truckee Pass Immigrant Road was concealed by snow. The height of the shaft of the monument indicates the depth of the snow, which was 22 feet. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. The lake that you see here is Truckee Lake. And at the close end of the lake is where the party camped. They built some kind of ramshackle cabins to try to withstand the winter here and wait until they could cross the mountains. But there was dozens of people living in small cabins, and there was so much snow that they were kind of trapped inside of there. All of their animals died, and they ended up, eating the animals that they could. And just, I can't imagine all of the hardship that these people went through. So they camped there at the lake, and then when they were ready to go, they had to hike up here, and we're approaching Donner Pass in just a little bit. It's kind of appropriate that we're driving through here just after sunset. It's starting to get dark. It's spitting a little bit of freezing rain. There's snow on the ground. The wind is very cold. And I'm sure that this was nothing compared to what those people had to endure. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how anybody survived any of that westward expansion, especially the kids. There was so many, probably more than half of the Donner Party was children, like under 15 years old. Well, if you've made it to the end of this whole video, congratulations. You have gotten quite a history lesson today. Next week, we are going to be heading up to Redwood National Park. Can't wait to see you there next time. Until then, have a great week. Thanks. Bye, guys.